What's up, guys? I am the FM Guru, the Farmers Market Guru. I'm the only guy who can answer all your questions in regards to farmers markets, craft fairs, state fairs, anything like that, because I've been in the game for 5 years now. Today, I'm very excited because we are going to get in our next topic. First of all, if you have any questions about farmers markets, how to get into them, what's the application process, craft markets, state fairs, what you need as far as permits, feel free to hit my email link down in the description. I will teach you exactly what you need to know when it comes to becoming a farmers market vendor, craft fair vendor, basically anywhere. My expertise is farmers market though. So like and subscribe if you like this video, and comment. Right now I'll be answering most questions in the comments. Like I said, if you need a specific question answered, feel free to hit the description. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 downsides of the farmers market. We're going to talk about 5 things that people do not tell you, the downsides, the 5 negatives about selling at a farmers market. So let's get straight into it. So number 1, this is a good one, the weather. So wherever you live, everyone has weather problems. If it's raining, low foot traffic, nobody's gonna come in the rain. You do have selective few vendors that still come in the rain, and then you have selective few patrons or customers that come in the rain at the farmers market. So I was at a farmers market this past weekend, and I would still manage to do a decent amount even though it was super windy, super cold, and freezing at the same time. Even if some states that you might have it to where it's super cold and it's snowing, nobody's coming to the farmers market during the snow. Some people might come to the rain, some people might come in the extreme heat. Nobody's coming in the snow. I guarantee you that is the least amount of time people are coming to the market. So if it rains or snows, you're not getting your booth feedback too. Yeah, basically you're rolling the dice with the weather. And another bad thing about the weather too, if it gets super windy, you're gonna be out there, all your stuff's gonna be blowing over. You gotta make sure that you stake everything down with weights. Sometimes even if you stake everything down with weights, your product display will be set up a certain way to where the wind still pushes your product down. That's what happens with me with my pouches and my jars. The wind will push my product down. And that is the weather portion. So number 2, I would say a big issue about farmers markets that people don't talk about is the inconsistent sales. So obviously a farmers market, they have markets sometimes on Friday nights. There's some markets that have random markets on Tuesdays. Sometimes they'll have a random market on Wednesdays, but normally markets are Fridays, rarely Thursdays, but Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Even Fridays aren't as common as Saturdays and Sundays because we're talking about markets in general. Farmers markets are mainly just Saturdays and Sundays though. So if you're looking for something to replace your full-time job, you got to think about that. Like, you need to really make sure you ramp up sales in those 2 days, but it's doable. I know a lot of people that, I would say a good chunk of people, maybe about 60 to 70% of the people I personally know, full-time, the farmers market is their full-time job. So it's 100% doable, and I will teach you guys through this channel on how to do it. But yeah, it is inconsistent sales. One week you might sell out and have a good week because of the weather, connected to the weather. One week you might have couple of sales, but as you keep going to the farmers market, you get those consistent customers, and those consistent customers will come randomly. Like this past weekend, it was, like I said, it was cold and rainy. This one lady came and paid like $120 for my product, and she was like, oh yeah, that's the crazy thing. A lot of people would say, oh yeah, I saw you blah 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 way back when, and you completely forget. You're like, oh, good to see you again, but you forgot you saw them. But yeah, that is the one thing about inconsistent sales. Another thing about it is the holiday time. It will be hard to even have a market because they're closed for major holidays like Christmas or even New Year's. Yeah, just inconsistent sales like that. There are Christmas markets, obviously, on Christmas, not on Christmas Day actually, but you get the gist. The next third thing people do not talk about at farmers markets is the long hours. It's essentially another work day. So some people look at the schedule, like my current one is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. But if you think about it, right, let's say your farmers markets, because not all of them are going to be 10, 15 minutes away from you. Let's say you're like mine right now. My farmers market is an hour away from me. So I'm waking up at, I want to say 6. I put all the stuff in the car the night before. I'm waking up like at 6, 6:30, leaving at 7, taking the drive from 7 to 8-ish, setting up for about an hour. Then it starts at 9. Then I'm there from 9 to 1. Then it takes me about 30 minutes to tear everything down. Then I take an hour back to go home. So at minimum, from 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at minimum, if everything goes perfectly, that's like working time. So that's more or less close to the full working day. Some farmers markets are 8 hours long. So do the math. You're doing 10 hours for one day. So that is another thing, is no one really talks about how early it is, because most farmers markets are early, and yeah, they are early, man. Number 4 is something people do not tell you about farmers markets that is very crucial that you have to know, is that it's essentially, when you first start out, it's essentially, because you have a full-time job, right? It's essentially like you're working overtime for free. When you're working, you're not even really working overtime for free. You're paying and working, because you're paying for your signage, you're paying for your permits, you're paying for your tent, you're paying for all these things, and you're not seeing the results right then and there. But it's coming soon. It's coming soon. But yeah, like I said, when I was working at the farmers market, I had a full-time job. I was working at a jail when I was first working at one. There was times I was working at a hotel, an after-school care program, and I had to do that in order to get my feet off the ground. And then when I started making a consistent income at the market, I then quit the job. So yeah, they're just gonna eat up a lot of your time. You're gonna come home from work, be working at the farmers markets, and if you have kids and stuff, that adds up. Yeah, you're gonna spend all week prepping for it. So if you're a bakery person, or if you make bread and stuff, you're gonna have to come home, make the bread. I know it takes hours to make bread. If you're making candles, it takes hours. Anything that you do at the farmers market is going to take hours to prepare for and hours to make, just to get ready for the weekend. But I promise you, it will be worth it. The next thing I will also say too is that you won't have as much social time. Sundays are a big day for farmers markets. And if you want to have brunch with your girls, it's best to stay consistent. You could do a farmers market twice. There are some once a month farmers markets, but yeah, I just want to put that tidbit in there. The 5th and final one, I will come up with 5 more, is that you have limited growth at the farmers market. You basically cap out to whoever's coming there each week. So let's say the max amount of people that ever came to that market, the record is 2,000. You're basically halving that, and you're expecting like 1,000 per week. But not all that 1,000 is gonna buy your product, because let's say you're selling bread, like I said, some people are gluten-free. Let's say you're selling candy, some people are sugar-free. Let's say you're selling beef jerky, some people are vegan. So not every product hits with every person. So you're definitely gonna have your specific niche, but you're always going to hit that cap at the farmers market. Then you want to experiment with other markets, and you're going to get your general cap of, okay, this is what I'm going to do each week. Then you want to scale online, because online, the growth is infinite. So yeah, I'm gonna even say too, like I got kicked out of the farmers market one time because the farmers market was downsizing. So that's another thing. The limited growth is that you can just get kicked out for any reason. You and the market manager have a disagreement. For my case, the market was about to sell. It's working on selling its land for an apartment complex to take it over. One of the markets that I worked at, that the location got switched, the restaurants were upset that we were taking their business. The park that we were at, they kicked us out. So anything can happen to where you just get kicked out the market, and that is another part of the limited growth. So that's why when you're doing these markets, unless you're selling something that can't be shipped online. If you're starting out, I would suggest making something that could be shipped online. Fruits, vegetables, then I would really suggest doing something that could be shipped online. But that's all I got for today's video, guys. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comment sections. If you guys want me to answer your personal questions, hit the link in the description and I will find some way to where we could have like a group meeting, a group me, and you just pay a little fee and then we call it a day. So yes, I'll probably get that figured out today. Thank you guys for clicking onto this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff.